Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I see there's quite attendees here. Welcome and thank you for being here. So in this webinar, we'll talk about how we can improve collection and recovery strategy in contact centers. My name is Muklas Yusufi. I'm the head of collection strategy in Permata Bank. It's one of the largest banks in Indonesia. And for the next half an hour or so, I will be moderating the discussion with a very distinguished panel of speakers. If I may call upon Mr. Amit first to introduce himself. Mr. Amit.
Sure. Hi, my name is Amitoj. I work for the Home Credit Group. I've been associated with the group since 2011. I believe a lot of us know that this group is present in a lot of countries from Europe to Asia. We are a very tech-oriented group. Since 2011, I've been involved in multiple departments, from ops to anti-fraud to strategy and collections. And during this time, I was responsible for a lot of transformations. Before this, I was with a startup and several other organizations in different roles. And let's enjoy the conversation today.
Thank you, Mr. Amit. And the next would be Mr. Kian. Would you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Muklash. My name is Kian Fo. You can call me Kian. So I work for the Collectors Group. So our company primarily manage the buy the distressed assets from the market, and then we are also performing servicing for our client, servicing of the credit management for our clients in the market in Southeast Asia. So we operate in 7 countries. For myself, basically I come from a banking industry. So I work in the bank like Standard Chartered, DBS, this kind of bank for over 20 years. Okay, and I joined Collectors in the last 5 years. Yeah. Thanks, Muklash.
I see. Thank you, Mr. Kian. For the next, Mr. Gokul, do you mind if you introduce yourself again as a part of the panel?
Sure, I can. So I run the Asia business for Unifor, all the way from ANZ to Middle East. We follow the SUN model all the way from ANZ to Middle East. So all of those regions fall under me. Looking forward to engaging with these panelists on the collections and learning from most of the industry veterans here.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gokul. Mr. Sonny, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Sonny. I'm currently work for Danamas. Danamas is basically P2P lending. We are the first license from OJK. So yeah, looking forward to have a discussion with all of you.
All right, Mr. Sonny. We'll go forward with Mr. Edmund for now. So you can see from the introductions that we have a very experienced group of panelists here. So I believe we will have a very engaging discussion about how we can improve collection and recovery. And you already heard from Mr. Gokul earlier in the keynote that Unifor offering a solution in terms of conversational AI platform and analytic. And I believe it should be part of a consideration going forward in terms of how we can build collection and recovery operations into the future. But taking a step back, I would like to give an opening remark about how we are truly right now in a very unique situation. The pandemic has just receded. I think it is going better compared for the past 2 years. But now there's a new challenge in the horizon. There's a recession alarms going off everywhere. So I'm sure you've already heard about it, you've already seen it. And there's never a busier time for us in this industry with all these dynamics, I'm sure. So the pandemic itself, has brought about fundamental changes into how we work, into how we operate. But not only that, the customer behaviors are also changing. I'm sure all of us here already noticed that. So it impacts how we strategize things, especially in contact centers operations, in particular for collection and recovery. So on that subject matter, I would like to ask Mr. Amit here, how do you think customer behavior has shifted over time? Ishamit.
Yeah, thank you, Muklas. So I'll start by saying that customer experience or customer behavior has been changing long before COVID. Yeah, so it's not only since COVID, but it has been changing for a very long time, and it's still evolving. So customers now are a lot more. Let me start by saying more price sensitive. They care about how much they pay and what they get in return. Yeah, so let's not keep it only to collections, but when they go buy something, they care about how much are they paying for the product, not only, let's say, a service. Then they are more sensitive towards customer experience. Everyone, including us, we want to be treated with respect. If I, as a customer, am not happy with a company, unless there's no other option available, will we go back to them? I believe none of us would go back to the company if we're not treated well. Also, all of us are busy in our lives. We don't have too much time. So the processes should be fast and simple. Now, I remember in the past, when someone wanted a loan, there was a huge application form, multiple pages, and the approval would take several days. Now it's all online, and in most cases, the approval takes a few minutes. Customers are now becoming much more aware about their rights. So the companies have to be more transparent in communication. One big change which has happened over the time, loans are not considered as bad in the society. People are becoming more and more, let's say, used to the fact that everyone needs a financial help. Now they're happy to share or they're happy to take a loan. Now, in the past, if I would take a loan, or let's say a customer would take a loan, they may not be happy or they may not be comfortable in sharing it. But these days, if you go to a mall, it's pretty common. Now, since it's so common, and if I'm dissatisfied, I'll happily share my dissatisfaction. And I'll not be worried that, okay, what if I tell someone that I'm unhappy, people will get to know that I have a loan. So all this, I believe, is the major change in how they think, how they perceive, and how they behave. Now, there are several factors which are leading to these changes. Let's take the first one, which is, why is it happening? As I mentioned, loans are becoming more common. Customers have more options to choose from, unlike several years ago. Yeah, so you would go for a loan, you will have one max two options, and you have to choose from them. As I said, you go to a mall, you go online, you have tons of options available. You can do your research, you can select which one's the best product for you. So once they do the research, they can select the best offer. Everything has a star rating. They select which one has a better star rating and they go for it. And as I mentioned previously, customer experience is pretty important. If I have a bad experience, I don't take one, but it's not only about me, it's about my friends, my family. So I ask them, do you have any experience with this company? And if the experience is bad, I would not use it. On top of that, we have internet and social media. So, we check, as I said, the star ratings, we check the reviews on the internet. Now, if the reviews are bad, people will be again skeptical about it. Right? So that's, again, something which we need to consider. On top of this, the regulations are also getting tougher. We know in all countries, the regulations are changing. Now, let's take an example. If a customer is unhappy, what would they do? They would approach the company. If the company doesn't provide them a solution, everyone knows, for example, in Indonesia, OJK can be contacted for support. Now, Muklas, as you mentioned in the introduction, external factors also play a major role. Take an example of COVID. We started doing things differently. Previously, we thought things which were not feasible. Now those things are already becoming normal. I believe a lot of us managers never thought work from home was possible, but now it's becoming normal. I mean, look at the change in behavior. Yeah, people can pay online. Use of technology like voice bots, chat bots. Everything is, let's say, promoted by the situation. And as I mentioned, it's not only driven by the situation, it's not only driven by the customers, it's also driven by us companies. In order to succeed, there's more competition. Every company wants to offer better services than the other in better prices, or let's say more competitive prices. And in order to do that, what are we doing? We're using more technology, we're using better tools every day. Now, with this change in customer behavior, there was a need, or there has always been a need for the collections department to adapt to it. The reason Collections, I believe, in the entire life cycle has the maximum touch points with the customer. And now, if you look at collections over the last many years, from the beginning, collections was always perceived as a very brutal department, which was always focused on intensity. Yeah, so it was always push more, call more, visit more, and you will have more cash collected. But now, if you look at it, it's about how can you balance performance with customer experience and efficiency. And as you mentioned, and even Gokul mentioned, it's always about for how long can we keep the customer with us? Because customers are limited and companies are increasing. So it's all about retention. And let's talk about more about this in the next questions that you have in the agenda. I believe I answered the question.
Yes, Mr. Amit. That's a very insightful from you. I would like to touch based on the technological development, the technology as an enabler. Mr. Soni, would you be willing to elaborate more about this, the technology part as an enabler for our situation right now?
Yeah, I think in my opinion, technology plays an important part in terms of the scalability and so right now, if you can imagine, if we have like hundreds of thousand loans every day, and you don't have technology to handle all those collection and repayment process, then how many call center staff you will hire to handle all the requests. So I think technology as an enabler and automation is one of the key to get the significant scale in terms of the volume.
Right. So, Mr. Soni, so it's about scalability. So technology allows us to scale up fast, right?
Yeah.
And Gokul earlier mentioned in the keynote about conversational AI. What do you think about conversational AI, Mr. Soni?
I think conversational AI is. I think consumers would hate to chat with some sort of robot kind of experience. So conversational AI would be able to mimic that personal one-on-one touch experience. And then the better we supply the data to the conversational AI, it gets better over time to basically do the communication with our customers.
Okay, I agree with that. So let me go back to Mr. Amit. Mr. Amit, I think in our past discussions, I know that you have had some experience with conversational AI. So can you probably share some experience with this technology? Thank you.
Definitely. We've been using VoiceBot, as you call it, conversational AI, since even before COVID. We have a huge team, not only in collections, but also in other departments within home credit. And it's not only within Indonesia, but also in the other parts of the world. So as the other speakers mentioned, there's always a need for automation. So we started testing with the technology a long time ago. And this technology is like your scoring models, is like humans. It needs training. So you start with simpler use cases. You start with simpler calls. You start with very basic communication, because that's what in the beginning it was able to handle. Now, when we started, it was a very simple use case, and it was as simple as, let's say, one-way communication. Then slowly and gradually, we added some questions. And over time, we trained the models, we trained the communication in such a way that now it's able to handle more complex communication. Now, what we have achieved so far is that it's used in almost all campaigns and collections. In most of the campaigns, we are able to deliver almost the same results as humans. But there are still some campaigns where we believe that a lot more can be done, and the results are still not as expected. I mean, when I say as expected, they're still not equal to the human operators. Because let's say, let me give you an example. A call where you have an angry customer, or where you have a complaining customer, or where you have a tough customer, where you need to handle it carefully, or where you need to have some stronger not stronger, stronger is not the right word, but let's say more negotiation. That's where we believe it needs more development. So I would say what we've achieved in the last 4 years is very impressive. It's pretty successful. It covers, a lot of part of most of our campaigns. But I would say there's a lot more to do yet. And it's not only collections where we use it. Yeah, we use it in other parts of the business as well.
I see. So basically, for collections part, you've been using it for the front end side. Is that still
And
correct?
when you say front end, do you mean, let's say, early delinquency?
Early delinquency, right?
We also use it in the back end, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, there's something.
So we use it, as I mentioned, yeah, we use it in all the campaigns, but the success varies by the delinquency. So let's say in the early stages, it's more successful than the late stages. But again, the application is different, yeah. So the desired or the expected results are different. So what we expect in the late stages, it's actually delivering.
Okay, so just a quick question. In Indonesia, there's a lot of dialects. There's a lot of people with different dialects. How does it handle the differences?
So first of all, in terms of the language spoken, even though there are dialects, but most part of the country, or almost everyone in the country, they would understand Bahasa Indonesia. Yeah. So when you're speaking, people would understand it. Now, what may happen when you're speaking to someone in Sumatra, or when you're speaking to someone, let's say in Kalimantan, Sulawesi, they would use some slang words, or they would use some specific words which are not used in Jakarta, for example. And this is something that we have to train the model on. Because over time you realize that your model is failing on certain words, certain sentences, certain answers. So then that's what you optimize over time. So we've been training the model over the last many years, yeah, because we as a company operate in every city. I mean, we have, let's say we cover all the islands. So when we cover all the islands, we have experience everywhere. So we have calls from everywhere. We have the success rate, failure rate, we have checks, and then we have the training models. So we are improving all the areas, and we're training the model.
I see. So, Mr. Amit, I'm sure that Home Credit Indonesia has gained much benefit from this conversational AI. Moving forward, I believe this has positive impacts to the collection process overall. Mr. Gokul, would you be able to elaborate further on this? How do you think this benefits? What kind of benefits are open to gain for collections operations?
Sure. And I want to kind of take this from where Amit left this off, right? Which is, see, there is one part of it, which is conversational AI, which is the speech bot that you're talking about. That's just one part of what the technology is already evolving into. And I'm repeating what I said before. Any organization like Unifor, a tech organization's goal should not be to replace humans and automate things based on what can or cannot be done. That's actually a very myopic way of looking at things. What we have seen, and that's where speech and the technology, the platform that companies like Unifor offer, is to take it not just from a conversational AI side of it, but also to the agent piece of it, which is while the agent is talking to the customer, and Amit talked about the negotiation skill, the empathy that needs to be shown. How does the AI support them during that piece? So while conversational AI is a part of that overall strategy, speech itself is much more conversations, or speech is much more broader from that perspective. And to your question specifically, Mutlaq, on the benefits, right? While the automation and the reduction of number of calls that goes to an agent vis-a-vis that is handled by the bot is a part of the overall strategy of reduction and an outcome that helps the organizations get better. That is one part that still remains. Where we have seen the biggest part is during the call, what are the kind of insights that the agent can get during the call, what kind of support the agent can get from the call to make that conversation more active, to get a transaction done. In this case, collections being done, or at least get a promise to pay, which is really where you want to get to during a call itself. So the benefits that we have seen is increase collections to the absolute percentage, not really an incremental percent, but an absolute percentage of almost 1 to 2%. If a collection, one of the NBFCs was doing 6 to 7% on an early collections, we were able to increase that to 8 to 9%. So in absolute terms, 1 or 2% increase. And then as you get late collections, obviously it gets much more tougher. And what you need to do is how do you map what the customer has done previous months or the months before that from a historical analytics perspective? How do you use the speech conversation to be an input to the propensity model itself, and then decide what the behavior futuristically of that customer would be? So across all three of them, we have been able to deliver value to the customer.
And if I may add here, Gokul, I actually agree with you. So, my answer was specific to the voice bot, but that's not the only thing that we do here. I believe we've had conversations in the past as well. So the humans are still an essential part of collections. So when we are, let's say, talking to the customers, the information that we can provide to them on a call, which can be used for negotiation, is probably the most important aspect. We have the models in place which can provide to them essential information, which helps them in negotiation. You're right. If the information from the previous call, based on the models, based on the automated models, can be added to the models, that can be, let's say, a good way forward. But yeah, that is something that needs to be tested. So what we have now is based on past behavior, is based on past trends, is based on repayments, is based on previous results. So based on all their behavior, we have models which are giving inputs and insights to the operators on how they can negotiate better on the next call. So that's something that we provide to the humans as an assist already.
I agree. We can get more insights coming from this technology, the feedbacks coming from this technology. Now, based on that, I would like to call upon Mr. Kian. I'm sure the collection process has stand to gain from using this technology. That collection process using digital means now have become more of a necessity. What kind of technological developments do you expect coming out of probably AI in the near future, Mr. Kian?
Okay, so I think from my perspective, I think we do see that the trend, the behavior of the customer has changed over time. Okay, and we are seeing that three major trends that is happening in the industry. One is that customer prefer digital first. Okay, what I meant by that is that with the evolving of the mobile phone, landline has become less and less relevant. Okay, and we will reach out to the customer through their mobile. Okay, so when you reach out to the customer using mobile, so customer can be like attending a conference like that. They don't want to be disturbed. Okay, or they are having a meeting. So when you call them at this certain time, okay, they might actually not be able to respond to you. Okay, and according to another survey that's done by this company called ACA, okay, in fact, okay, about 70% of the number that you reach out to the customer are actually blocked. Okay, so resulted in lesser right party contact and etc. And customer is also expecting not a one size fits all solutions. Okay, because now there are various social media, various different way of communicating with customer. So they expect them to be contacted, communicated through the various means that is more convenient to them. Okay, and last but not least, okay, I think especially like in country like Indonesia, where there's a booming of the e-commerce fintech like Tokopedia and many other company where customer expect to do self-service more. Okay, they like to do things like at their free time. Okay, so that they can be more convenience to them. Okay, so with all these trend, right? So it makes that the digital way of approaching customer more important in collections. So in the traditional agency, we tend to actually use call agent to reach out to customer. Okay, so this actually created quite a number of frictions. Okay, So a digital solutions can actually complement the traditional approach by addressing many industrial issue and shortcoming, both from an engagements and compliance perspective. Okay, for collectors, what we have done is that we are a digital first and customer centric company. Okay, so we, rather than attempting to contact customer via outbound call, okay, we communicate with customer in the way they want to be communicated, usually via email, text, or other social media that they prefer. Okay, our tech-enabled platform allow customer to also self-service so that they can resolve their account digitally, including modifying their payment plan, disputing on their account. This leads to a less stressed customer who has a more favorable view of the organization they have outstanding with. If customer prefer to be communicated with someone directly over the phone, they are also able to do it. Okay. Another approach is that we have actually engaged in a data-driven approach to incorporate with our omni-channel. Okay. By building this, we have a behavioral model, okay, that actually works to understand the customer, to see what form of communications the customer like to be actually contacted. Okay. For example, if the customer prefer to read his email at the morning, okay, so our data will be able to capture this, and then we are able to actually interact an API with our omni-channel so that we can send an email in the morning to the customer, so at his preferred time, so that the customer can open up the email and read the email and respond accordingly. Okay, so business benefit greatly from this digital approach. Okay, so we see a more positive engagements with the customer, and then resulting in the increase in transactions that is like after business hour. We do see an increase of 5 to 10% of transactions after the business hour, because now the customer can choose to do whatever they want at their own free time. Okay, like we send them a self-service portal, they can actually log on to the self-service portal and then make the installment themselves, and then link with the payment channel to actually make the payment accordingly. You see, so as a result, we are also seeing that customer satisfaction improve, and we have also reduced our costs from both telco and staffing perspective.
That's great. So, Mr. Ken, you mentioned about convenience, right? Would you be probably share with us a little bit more about this self-service? How does it work, the self-service in collections?
Okay, so the self-service, we have created this self-service portal, okay, where we will trigger email link to the customer, so the customer can actually set up an account through this self-service portal through a 2FA authentications. Once they have set up this account, they can view their balance on this account. Okay, they can actually create an installment plan on this account. They can actually link themselves with the preferred channel that they want to pay, okay, and set up a recurring payment, etc. And also they can actually generate statement from this self-service portal. And if, let's say, due to certain reason, okay, their fund is not coming in per what they have set up, they can actually go on to the portal to actually amend the installment plan accordingly.
I see. So I think it's the right channel for restructuring platform as well for the customers. So yes, I believe all of these technologies from Mr. Ken has mentioned, from the self-service and the voice bot coming from Mr. Amit earlier, and as well as the analytic part, have all supported and help us in the collection and recovery industry to improve our recovery rates, right? So and now I would like to open a session for Q&A. I would like to see whether there's any question that we probably may be able to assist the audience. Hello, Mr. Edmund. Thank you for
Hi.
joining us. So, during our discussion earlier, Mr. Kian has mentioned about how technology has become a very important part of collection operations, right? How do you think this improved technology may help build up a better customer experience now in the future?
I think it's in disruptive age. I've been working in a big group. I'm in the same group as Sony. So we are, I'm head of AI within the bigger group than this one. AI has become disruptive, right? Data has become a major disruption within the ecology of how debt collection is being done. My take on this is that we as I'm a CTO, I'm also an AI person, but as we create technology, what do we want to do? This is something that we don't realize, that technology assists us to do better realization without bias. When you have customer voice and then somebody who tried to think about how should we approach customer, it's just gut feeling. And some people's gut feeling are not correct. They keep on chatting the person, hey, and threatening the person, and whatever is, it's been all over the news, right? This is something that people don't want. So there are better ways of doing things. And with the rise of AI, conversational AI has always been improving on the terms of human-like experience, right? And behavioral science has become another major step, of milestones that a lot of these big players are doing. What do we do? I mean, I was in a AI company for 5 years. And so we created natural language processing for Indonesian language. And this is slang language. The robot talks Indonesian slang. And, it's like, they're saying things that, the language evolves very quickly. And as we understood how people talk, as people interact, as we understood how to approach them, behavioral science has come up with an idea that we can understand people through the conversation. What time do we approach them? How do we approach them? What kind of title we should put during our SMS towards them or WhatsApp messages, right? And these are something that we need to realize. Those interactions get collected in the collection of knowledge base, where we understood that, hey, you know what? Most customers in Indonesia doesn't like this approach. Oh, most customer, that's what we call A/B testing, right? Right. In marketing, we do A/B testing. We test customers whether or not they can. And AI can do this a lot better without bias, right? So they're able to create analogies on the messages we send. We can deliver messages that are appropriate at the right time with the right message, right, to the right number, or to the right communication channel. It could be, some people don't like to be called on their phone. Some people don't like to be, some people don't respond at all to emails. A lot of Indonesians don't respond to emails, believe me. So it's the experience that is personalized is what's important. You can't generalize everything to everybody. It's the personalized experience that you have with each individual. That's what creates the whole conversational AI worthwhile. So if you don't have it yet, I don't know what to say, because at the end of the day, you will need to interact with the customer in a smart, intelligent way. And it's no longer the time for gut feeling, right? It's time for logical, really A/B tested scenarios, how you approach each individual customer you have. That's the reason why you need AI.
there's one thing that I think you mentioned is very, very interesting and great insight. It's a personalized experience for the customers. So I believe this technology, Mr. Abna, I'm sure you agree with me as well, Mr. Sony as well. And this technology will deliver something that is personalized, because it's not only for a voice bot, but the feedback, the statistical feedback that we receive can probably help us in better understand the customer, so we can actually approach them better on their more convenient time, as Mr. Kian and Mr. Amit has mentioned as well. So let me check again for the chat box. I don't think okay, there's any. Okay, for now
If I may add,
I would like to raise a question that I've been holding during the conversations. Back to Mr. Amit. I think Mr. Amit mentioned about governance part or regulations, right? So collections in overall, I think tend to be something like dramatized by collection always saying harsh words and everything. About this, Mr. Gokul, do you think this technology by Unifor can actually help in the regulations part, in assurance part, that collections, still stick to the regulations, not saying any harsh words or any kind of mistreatments, Mr. Gokul?
Absolutely. And I said that's the number one use case for collections, right? Especially both on the coaching side, on the onboarding of agents, number one, which is done real time. But then after the fact, post facto, the analytics, where you look at all the recordings and make sure that none of these things are done, is part of the quality automation that we anyway do. So compliance is the number one use case on the collection side of it. Typically done historically. We don't want to do it real time because sometimes it may not be worth it to do it real time. So historically, N+1 day, you make sure that some of these harsh words are not done. Now, there's also, you used the word, how do you ensure that some of the things that are said in the customers, that are said by the agents to the customers, is also in line with what the organization wants the agents to say. So the assist part of it also does what's called assurance, which is part of Unifor solution, which is if the agent is promising certain things to the customer during the conversation, there is a follow-up mechanism that is built into the product to make sure that is also done. So assurance is part of that. But I think your question was also around the compliance, which is typically done end of the call in a post-facto basis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gokul. So I think you have heard here in the discussion about the self-service part, the assistance part by the voice bots, as well as the analytic part. And I'm sure this technology has the promise of even developing further into the future and giving more benefits to the contact centers, especially for the collection and recovery strategy. If there is no other questions, I think I would like to close the session for now. And thank you so much for everyone here, especially the panelists. This has been a great discussion, and I'm sure everyone has gained something from this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
thanks.